Within the scriptures, it is written that the evil will fight the wicked. With that in mind, Starr witnessed a story over 20 years ago in which there was a religious war between Judaism and the Muslims. Wherefore the Catholics and the Jewish will join together to fight the Muslims. Then due to the many deaths, the Catholics are going to blame the Jewish for the war, then turn their backs on them, which will allow the Muslims to crush the Jewish people. Then the Catholics will eventually defeat the Muslims, whom will eventually lose to God in the end. Why? Because God is a conquering lion of the seed of Judah. And where is he from? Zion. Psalm 76. God is known in Judah, or in the land of Judea, or in the place that they call Israel. So in Israel, his name is great, because his name is Jehovah. He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But his dwelling place is in Zion. Notice God is known in Judah, but is not living in Judea. Why? Because he is living in Ethiopia. Where's Zion? Ethiopia, or Abyssinia.
In 1928, he led the troops that killed Empress Zoditu's husband, who was not of royal blood, and became regent. He became emperor on November 2nd, 1930, and was crowned Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, King of Zion, conquering lion of the seed of Judah.
He's going to conquer Judah for their lies, and he's going to bring such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, because they have done which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger since the days their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even on to this day. Hence, Judaism started in Egypt. And if you don't know, the oldest synagogue in the world is literally in Cairo, Egypt, which was built around the 9th century, not 2,000 years ago, as Judaism wants you to believe. Well, anyway, let's see what they say about them.
We are dealing with a rogue state, a pariah state that has no respect for the rule of law, no respect for human life, no respect for decency, and no respect for the opinion of billions of people all over the world, across the board, whether Christian or Muslim. And it's about time that we begin to reconsider the whole issue of whether it is that this type of nation, this rogue state that thrives in slaughtering human beings morning, day, and night, really does have the right to exist. Now, I have always believed that Israel has the right to exist. I've always believed that. But I am beginning to question that belief.
Why? Because it started in 1948. It wasn't here from the beginning. Israel is the name of God.
I believe that the Pentagon's strategists, watching what played out Saturday night into early Sunday morning, though not the ones who are ideologues, but those who are genuine military strategists, fell to their knees on this. No, I'm not trying to be dramatic or over-exaggerate. They had forgotten how to wage wars, what a military is important for. You know, we know they're top heavy, you know, a lot of conventional, massive hardware, warships, fighter jets, etc. But these are easy targets in today's war. They watched an unbelievable, breathtaking military operation. Now, what do I mean by that? Iran used its military very calculatingly in order to serve its political agenda.
So when the death starts coming in, the land of Israel will be blamed for the deaths.
Daniel 11, the prophecy that shows the role of Islam and Christianity in conflict, indicates that in the third and final conflict, Egypt will be overthrown.
Because all religions stem from Egypt. They are the beginning of paganism. In the beginning was one God and no religion. Now they realize that war is profit. So
just protectorate of the West. So without getting the money and the weapons from the European Union and United States, Ukraine as a state would cease to exist. So it's not a sovereign state anymore. It's not the war of the Hungarians. We don't behave like the Europeans who said, oh, it's our war. Because it's about values, it's about international order whatsoever. So
the number one export for both Russia and America is selling weapons. So he basically said that Ukraine is basically being funded for war. At the end of the day, they're selling weapons and getting taxpayers' money to kill the innocent.
Black faces in high places are not going to save us. Just look at the black proponents of Cop City in Atlanta's leadership class. Black faces in high places are not going to save us.
Remember, it's a religious war, so it's not about color. And know who's funding it and who's running it.
Churches, they are the ones who are interfering with our scriptures and interpreting them and blinding people and confusing them. One group called the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they are controlled by who? The Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, the Vatican Jesuits, primary money managing families. The Rothschilds have been managing the Vatican's finances since 1829. Jordan Maxwell revealed that when he was living in LA, the witnesses would have conventions here, and he was in the group of the inner circle. He would go to their functions, etc. And he happened to be sitting next to a Greek guy who was in the financial department, and Jordan has a lot of curious questions, so naturally asked, how do you fund all this since you're only getting donations, and how do you have all these great hotels in Brooklyn, New York, and Patterson, upstate New York, and Pennsylvania? The Greek guy in the finance department said, well, it's easy. We have open checkbooks from Chase Manhattan and JP Morgan, and whatever we need a hotel room to further our publishing work, write out a check. Who owns Chase Manhattan? The Jesuits. They control all the money.
I'm not allowed.
War equals profits, and religion creates wars.
Tensions are rising between the Israeli government and the Catholic Church after a gathering of prominent Catholic bishops called on Israel to end the occupation of Palestinian territories and to stop using the Bible to justify the occupation. The bishops issued the statement following a 2-week special synod of bishops organized by the Vatican. Archbishop Cyril Salim Boustros is head of the Melkite Greek Catholic Church in the United States.
Remember, it's written that the Catholics are going to turn their backs on the Jewish. Hello.
Et ça c'est clair pour nous. On ne peut pas se baser sur le thème de la terre promise.
This is clear for us. The concept of the Promised Land cannot be used as the base for justification of the return of the Jews to Israel and the displacement of Palestinians.
Millions de Juifs et on a chassé 3 à 4 millions de Palestiniens dans leur terre.
4 to 5 million Jews have been brought in, and 3 to 4 million Palestinians have been chased out of their land, where they lived for 1,400 to 1,600 years.
Compared to just got there in 1948. So it's either in the lost books of the Bible or the lost books of Eden. It tells you what she was talking about. She basically said America and Russia are friends, and they basically use wars to create profits because their number one exports is basically selling weapons. So if you listen to her, she was the wife of a 5-star American general, and she basically spilled the beans. Because you could clearly see this is how close Russia and the United States are. For those who think Russia is all the way on the other side of the world, it's approximately 55 miles from the U.S. bearing narrow point. They both have their own little island. One is called Big Diomede and Little Diomede, and they're only 2.5 miles wide and actually freezes up during the winter. So you could technically walk from Russia to the United States. Hello, wake up.
Just bring like a overfull of goodness.